Good morning. I'm Brett, and welcome to my backyard. It's another beautiful day here in East Texas. Tomorrow is the first day of spring, and it looks like it's going to be a good one for all of us backyard gardeners. One thing I want to do today is help increase my production of my vegetables for this year. Now, as we're planting our vegetables, we all want to make sure that we get a large harvest and have good quality vegetables that we're producing out of our backyard. And one way to help that is to increase the pollination. And so this year, I'm going to start getting into some at-home beekeeping here. I'm going to try to. We'll see how it goes. But bees have been known to travel up to a couple of miles looking for food, which they get by pollinating our flowers and our vegetable plants. Now, they would prefer to stay closer. If they find a lot of food nearby, they won't have to travel as far. But there has been a decline over the past several years in the amount of bees, largely due to their natural habitat disappearing. Now, when bees migrate, which they do this time of year when everything comes into bloom, they do something that they call swarming, where they will separate off and part of the hive will travel to a new location. Well, they have to be able to find somewhere suitable for a new home for them. So that's what we're going to try to do today. Now, when they travel, the size of the swarm can vary, and they need to have somewhere large enough to accommodate the whole swarm when they go there. So what we're going to be doing today is setting up a beehive in hopes that we can catch one of these swarms as they come through. Right behind me is my Texas buckeye. It's just about to bloom. I was looking back this morning on my pictures, and 2 years ago it was already in full bloom. We didn't have quite the freezes 2 years ago, but we were getting a torrential downpour at that time. And the bees just love it. Whenever they come to this tree, it'll be so full of bees, you can just hear them buzzing around. You can stick your head up in there. They're not focused on you. They're just there to collect their food for the day. But that's why I'm going to set my hive up close to this tree in hopes that it will attract them here. I'm going to do some other things to help attract them to my hive as well, but today we're just focused on getting it set up. We'll go through some of the other steps later as the season goes along, but this will not be the permanent resting place for the hive. I'm just kind of getting it close enough that hopefully they find it when they come to the flowers of this tree here. We're actually going to set it on the southeast corner here later, a little more out of the way of everything. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with our bottom board. Now, I prepped all these pieces a couple weeks ago. If you buy pre-assembled, or even I guess if you're making your own, most time pine is the most frequently used material. And when it comes in, let's see if you can see that natural pine color there. That's great. The bees will love this. I'm actually going to get some wax and melt down and paint this to kind of kill a little bit of that natural pine smell and make it more enticing for them. But I didn't want to paint this area. Anywhere where the bees are going to be, I left unpainted. But I went on the outside, put a little paint, and got it ready when we had a sunshiny day during the winter months so that the paint fumes could dissipate, but that'll protect it from the elements out there. Let's see if I can get that back where I can see it. Okay. That'll help protect it from the elements so that it will last quite a bit longer. All right. Now our bottom piece, this is going to be our base. It's going to raise our hive up a little bit. This one here that I ordered came with what they call a Mite Board. As you can see, it's just a piece of corrugated plastic here. This is not a necessity. You don't have to have it down there. For one, it helps block the wind coming from the bottom if you do have it in place. And for two, it's in a checkerboard grid pattern here. And the reason that this is with it is, we'll get into this later if we have this problem, but there's a mite. If any of you have any farm animals or anything, you might know about mites. You've heard that saying about mites on chickens. But bees can also get a mite, and they can devastate a hive. And so what this allows you to do is monitor if you have any mites in your hive here. Now, usually 1% of mites to bees is not a bad ratio. There's going to be some around. It just kind of comes with the territory. If you get up into the 3% range, there are some things that you can do to get rid of them so that they don't hurt your population of bees. But like I said, we'll get into that later. I'm going to slide that back in there. You'll also notice it has a metal base right here. You might not see it, but you can probably hear it. That'll help the bees. They can get through that if they have to. A bee can actually travel, I think it's 3/16 of an inch a bee can fit through. So that's big enough they can get through if they have to. It needs to be a little larger than that. If they've got pollen on them, they need to be able to fit through with them and the pollen. If you're scraping the pollen off, they can't get back and produce you some nice honey later. It also comes with this reducer piece. You'll notice small hole right here, and if we turn it, a little larger hole right here. Now I'm going to use this to start with. When it warms up a bit, I'm going to totally take this out. What this does is it's another insulation piece. Just like on your home these past winter months, you probably have found some space, a crack around a window, door, something, where that cold air just seeps in. And this helps reduce that. Bees do not like to be cold. If they get cold, they can die. So extra insulation, and it can reduce the size that you come in here. We'll probably put this back, when it first starts to warm up for the year. We'll just have it here. Gets a little warmer, like right now, I'm gonna go ahead and sit it right here because we're trying to attract them. And then when it gets to where the nights are not quite as cold, I'm going to totally remove this for the summer. But like I said, for right now, we're going to go ahead and set that in place there. All right, now we've got a good base to build upon. Our next piece that we're going to put on there is our actual box. And this is called a medium super. These are all made here in the U.S. Be sure when you're shopping around to get U.S. made products. Not only does it help our economy, but they're just better built. Made in the USA does still mean something. All right, so here it is. This is the medium. They do come in a shallower and a deeper size. I'm starting with the medium. This will be good enough for starting here. Let's see if we can get this placed right. All right, see how that fits just fine. Slide that reducer up under there. All right, there we go. And when you do this, you'll probably notice that there's a little bit of a landing pad here at the beginning. It gives the bees a place to land on and then walk up into their hive. Now, this one is a 10 frame. Comes with these. I think these are 6 1/4. Let's see if it says. I don't think it says. Anyway, I think that this is 6 1/4, some medium. These are already wax coated here. This is good backing for them to build upon here. If you're trying to transfer say somebody gave you a hive of bees and you wanted to transfer them into here, you may want to remove this piece to take some of that comb they've already produced and to put in here and let them build out from there. But right now we're starting from scratch on this one, so we're going to leave these in place. You'll notice that they got a little rabbit ear here on the ends to help hold them into the box, keep them from falling down in there. And it comes with 10 of these here. There's different sizes. They make a 8-frame box. You can make them in all sorts of sizes, but this is probably the most common. And then we're going to get them all spaced out nice and evenly to give them good room to come up in here. Okay, our next piece we have is an inner cover. Now, you may notice I've got one right now. You can actually add on to these. You can go multiple layers high. You could have several mediums. You can have a medium and a deep sitting on top of each other. You may see, I've seen beekeepers in our area have these things 5 feet tall, different boxes. That way they can pull off different sections, and there's different reasonings for that. They'll have some of them that this one will be for their honey production, and this one will be their brooder box where the queen makes more bees, things like that. And so as we go throughout the season, I'll probably add on to this. And when we do that, I'm going to get what they call a queen excluder. Just like you saw that metal down in the bottom frame, it will sit on top of here, and you'll have a box on top. And what that does is your queen bee is larger than your worker bees, and so it excludes her. And so the top will be just their honey production, and she'll stay down in the brooder section there producing the next generation. But I don't have another box to go on top yet. So what we have here is called an inner cover. And all this is just a flat piece. All these pieces, you can find the dimensions online. People have put them out there. And this could all be made if you've got a little workshop. And I think that's actually what we're going to do. Dad's really gotten in to try to make some of these the last couple of weeks. But this is just basically a thin piece of paneling. Got a little hole you can see right here. And we're going to put that on top. And that's just another insulation barrier. While it's a little cooler right now, that'll help insulate the box while they get going. But it does leave a little hole up the top here. So if it provides for ventilation coming out of there. You don't want the hive to get wet and mold inside. And also the bees can come in and out of here. And some of them will actually enter from the top area sometimes. Most of them will probably come from the bottom area here, but some can come from the top and get down into here if they would like to. And so this is good and insulated. Now, how are we going to keep the rain out of there? Like I said, moisture is a bad thing in here. Got one last piece right now. See if I can get it out of here. This is our top. Some people call it a telescoping top. You can see once again, pine frame, has metal bent over the top of it. Mine's a little more bent than some others. I ordered this one and they weren't very nice to it, but it's still very effective. Not going to hurt it at all. And we're just going to place that on top. There we go. Slide that forward just a little bit. All right. And you'll notice when you put that on there, it's pretty snug, but it's just slightly bigger than the layer below it. And like I said, bees can get through a very small entrance. And right here, that's probably 1/4 inch. I don't have my tape measure on it, just feeling it. That's probably 1/4 inch. They should be able to go up between here and get down into the top. But it's bigger. This hangs over so that when water hits here, it'll run off the side. won't penetrate down into there and get our bee box all nice and moldy. Now, there we have it. We got our first little hive going. Hope to attract some bees. Like I said, I'm going to do some things. Got flowers blooming. I planted some lemongrass and some bee balm seeds a few days ago. Hopefully they'll be coming in. I'm going to put some of them around it. I'm going to paint that bare wood with some melted wax as another attractant. And then there's some different oils and things that people sometimes use to attract the bees here. We're going to see what we can do to attract a swarm this year. They'll be our newest addition to our 8th acre farms here, and they're going to help quite a bit with the vegetable production and fruit production. Especially, I'm wanting to put out several more fruit trees this year, and so hopefully they'll help quite a bit with that. We'll see how that goes. So hope y'all have enjoyed that video today. If y'all have any questions, please leave me a comment below. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share it with your friends, and we'll catch y'all next time.